UFC Vegas 71 is this Saturday, and here's my full card predictions and breakdown for the card. Before I get into it, I apologize for being a little absent the last week or so. I recently had a lot of extra stuff come on personally, and I'm still tweaking my schedule a bit just to make sure that I do get at least the full card prediction video out. I think it gives you guys the most value out of all the videos I can put out. I know a lot of you guys look forward to it, so just bear with me while I still tweak my schedule. I know this one's a little later in the week. Ideally, I'm going to be getting these out every Tuesday/Wednesday going forward, and once my schedule opens back up again, I'll be able to crank out more videos, but for the foreseeable future, it's likely going to just be the full card predictions and maybe one other per week. But anyway, moving on to the picks. The first fight of the night, we have Brady Hienstand versus Batgerel Danaa. I'm going with Batgerel. The reason is, well, for one, both of these fighters are pretty damn green in their career, but Brady is much more green than Batgerel is. It sounds like I'm saying Batgirl like Batman, but I'm just going to go with that and call him Batgirl for now. I just think Batgirl has a little bit more experience than Brady. I think it's going to show. I've gotten burned a lot recently where I pick a prospect who I think looks so good, but then they quickly show me that looking good against a certain caliber of fighters is one thing, but looking good against UFC caliber fighters is a little different. So I think Batgirl's going to get the finish in the second round, or it's going to go to a 29-28 decision. I also want to say, for the sake of time, I'm going to be putting all my favorite props as well as my own parlays in my Discord server this week. In this video, I'm just going to rapid fire through my picks and give you my reasons, and then those of you who want to know what actual parlays I'm taking and what the best props are, that's all going to be in the Discord. Give me your opinion on that though. Do you think it's important that I include it in this video, or do you think it's good to sort of separate it so that way those of you who just want to know who I'm picking can sort of watch this in a little bit more of a smooth way? Moving on up to the next fight, we have Priscila Cachoeira versus Karine Silva. Yet again, we have another good prospect coming up, fighting somebody with a lot of UFC experience. Priscila is a little bit of a dirty fighter, but she's got that dog in her. She's shown to be able to go the distance and look decent in it. She's never looked like a world beater, but she's also never looked like a trash can. And Karine Silva is going out there and finishing all the girls she's fighting relatively easily. Now, the last two times we were pressed with this exact scenario, I picked the prospect and I got absolutely smoked. It was Juliana Miller and it was Jacqueline Amarim. So I'm not making that mistake again. I'm going to pick Priscila. Watch me be wrong and watch the prospect come out here and get like a first round sub. It could totally happen. But I just think Priscila, given how things have been going lately, she's going to be able to tough it out in the first round, present more problems to Karina than she's ever seen before, and win in the second round, or just win a 29-28, second and third round victory for Priscila. At the very least, I would definitely recommend fading the bet side of Karine. I understand wanting to pick the prospect, but it's just incredibly risky. She really hasn't been proven that much. So that's why I'm edging my chips over on Priscila Cachoeira's side. On up, we have Francis Marshall versus William Gomis. And I feel like this is a reoccurring thing for the first three fights, but yet again, you have an interesting prospect with very limited experience. Francis only has like 7 fights, no amateur career. He has looked very good in those fights, but his opponents that he's fighting aren't really that great either. This is going to be his hardest test. William Gomis isn't the best fighter himself, but he has fought much tougher competition. And just like the previous two picks, I'm going to side with experience on this one. I'm going to go William Gomis as the underdog. Definitely would recommend fading the Francis Marshall betting side. He's just too green to really be able to trust putting your money on him. And for that reason, I'm edging it to William Gomis. I think he's going to win, likely a decision, maybe a second round finish. Pretty much the exact same pick and thought process for the full first 3 fights here. And I'll either be right on all of them or maybe I'll be wrong on all of them, but that's why we tune in. But definitely with my recommendation, don't go in there and bet heavy on Francis just because he's undefeated. He's still really green. And moving on up, we have Mohammad Usman versus Junior Tafa. I said the first 3 fights were the same type of thing, and this one's similar, but Mohammad Usman is also pretty green. He's not like a vet or anything. He's not had too many UFC fights. Junior Tafa, on the other hand, has what, 4 fights? It's either 4 or 6 fights. I don't have it in front of me right now, so I apologize. But he's incredibly green. He does look really good. He is finishing guys. He is getting them out of there. And for that reason, I think it's a true 50-50 fight, just because there's a lot of uncertainty on how Junior will perform in the UFC. Junior is the bigger man slightly, but Mohammad Usman is a beast of a person as well, so I wouldn't say he has necessarily more punching power. I think they're both relatively similar in speed. I would give the speed advantage to Junior, though, out of if we're edging it. So I would pick Junior Tafa skill for skill wise. I just think with Mohammed's Contender Series victory, he looked pretty damn ferocious in that. I think he's going to be able to get this one done too and start to build a little bit of a name for himself. I wouldn't go at this one and throw a lot of bets on it. It's a true 50-50 heavyweight match. There's a whole lot of uncertainty with it, but if I had to pick one, I'm going to pick Mohammad Usman. Moving on up, we have Karol Rosa versus Norma Dumont. Karol Rosa is very good. She is moving up to the featherweight division, which makes it interesting. However, she's not going to be too small in this matchup. They're both the same height. I do think Norma has fought the tougher competition. She's beaten some very good competition in the division. I know she has overall less experience, and I know Karol Rosa has been more active, and Karol Rosa is no joke. I actually think both fighters are fairly good for where they're at in the division, so I'm expecting this out of female fights to be a pretty good one, honestly. I am going to edge it to Norma Dumont. I do think she'll be able to get this one done. I think the sharper swords that she's had to go in there in battle will make her a bit more prepared for this. Plus, she's used to the weight classes. Karol Rosa's first fight at featherweight. I'm thinking this one's going to be a hard-fought battle. One of those ones where it's pretty close each round, but you sort of edge it to Norma for 2 out of 3. I think it goes to decision. I think it's 29-28, Norma Dumont by decision. Moving on up, this is a massive dog or pass one. We have Rani Yahya versus Montel Jackson. So Rani Yahya has 21 of his wins by submission, and he's a massive underdog. I know he's older, he's 38 years old. I know Montel's a little bit of a prospect. So to make you feel like Montel's going to go in there and wipe the floor with him, and he probably will, but dude, at -500, I'm not taking Montel Jackson at all. It's definitely, if you want to throw a little dog odds out there, Rani Yahya has some life. If he gets him down there, that's what he does. He can get a submission from down there. Jackson hasn't been in there with any super deadly submission artists yet. Gun to my head, I would pick Montel just because of the age, because of the speed. I would say Montel's a much better and more dangerous fighter on the feet, and he can really finish Rani on the feet. But if it goes to the ground, it's super deadly. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. I might look ridiculous after. I think Rani Yahya's going to get it done. It's going to be one of those ones where he almost gets put out. He somehow gets Montel down, and he's going to find a crazy sub. Commentary is going to be hype. A lot of parlays who added Montel on there because he's such a strong favorite are going to bust. And again, I might look crazy saying that. I just got that feeling, and I'm going to ride with that feeling. I think Yahya, at 38 years old, is going to get a submission over this -500 favorite. But don't go out into all your parlays. I'm not saying that confidently. It's just if I had to pick one, I'm going to edge it over to Yahya. And it's arguably not a smart choice, but that's where I'm going to go with it. Moving on up, we have Ricky Glenn versus Christos Giagos. I think I pronounced that name wrong. I probably did. I'm almost certain I did. I'm taking Giagos to get the win here. He's been in there with the better fighters. He's coming off 2 losses, which means he does really need a win here, and he knows that, and he's been training his whole camp for that. I think he's going to get a finish in the second round. He's got good strikes. He's got decent takedown defense, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it go to the decision either. Both dudes are incredibly tough, but I'm picking Giagos to get this one done. Moving on up, we have Jeremiah Wells versus Matthew Semelsberger. Both guys, again, very, very tough, very durable. Matthew Semelsberger showed a lot of improvement in his last fight over the Celtic kid, Jake Matthews. I actually was betting on Jake Matthews, and Semelsberger ruined a few of my parlays. It was quite a sad night, actually. And I'm going to bet against him again here. I think Jeremiah Wells is going to get the finish in the second round. I just think he's going to be more dangerous on the feet. He's got higher finishing potential. I know Matthew Semelsberger really beat up Jake quite bad, but Jake really looked quite bad in that fight too. So I don't know whether to give all the credit to Matt or to sort of fault Jake a little bit. We will see, right, at the end of the day. But I am going to side with Jeremiah Wells. I think he's better than Semelsberger pretty much everywhere the fight can go. Not by a whole lot, but by a good chunk. And I think that's going to be very visible in the fight. I think they'll have a very close first round. But as the fight sort of continues on, I think Wells is going to be able to pull away with it in the second and third round. I know I'm saying a lot of these are like that, but that's how I see them going. I think Jeremiah Wells will get this one done. Probably a third round finish or a decision. Moving on up, we have Iasmin Lucindo versus Brogan Walker. Another prospect. However, the prospect is going up against somebody who's really not shown to be up to UFC caliber. And who I'm speaking about is Iasmin. She is the prospect. I think she's going to beat Brogan here. It's always terrifying taking a massive favorite in women's MMA because it is a true coin toss sometimes, it feels like. I just think Walker is not up there, and she really shouldn't be in the UFC. I think Lucindo is going to show us that this weekend. I think Lucindo is going to get a finish in the first or second round. I'm not adding her to a ton of parlays. I'm never confident when it comes to female MMA, especially lately. I've been doing so bad on it. But gun to my head, I think Iasmin will get this one done, and she might be okay to add to 1 or 2 parlays. Moving on up, and this is where it actually gets pretty good for the card. We have Bobby Green versus Jared Gordon. I have to pick Bobby Green in this one. I know he got finished by Drew Dober in his last fight. He was beating the shit out of Drew Dober, but then he was being an idiot like he always does and fighting with his hands by his side. Drew Dober pushing him up against the cage, removed the space for him to duck his head back, and just clocked him, dropped him, and put him out. I see Bobby Green being able to really do whatever he wants on the feet. I didn't see much great clinching from Jared Gordon. I know he did hold Patty up against the cage for a while, but I don't think Bobby Green's going to allow that to happen, and it's going to be a lot of Jared trying to do that, getting busted up on the separation and Bobby Green just piecing him up on the feet. I think Bobby Green's going to likely finish him in the second round or win a 30-27 decision because Jared is pretty tough. I just think this is a little bit of a mismatch. However, if I'm wrong and Jared Gordon goes out there and wins, Jared's got a really awesome story from what he's been through. I would love to see it for him as a fan of his since the Patty fight, but it's a tough matchup, man. I think Bobby Green's going to get this one. I am going to be adding Bobby Green to a good few parlays for sure. Moving on up to the co-main event, we have Brad Tavares versus Bruno Silva. You got Brad Tavares, who's been around the game for a while, always been mid-tier, but pretty damn good at mid-tier. You know, he's never fought for championships, but he's also, you know, been able to beat up the worst of the division. Bruno Silva went in there, almost beat Alex Pereira at points, or at least exposed Alex Pereira's weaknesses. Took so many hard shots from Pereira in that fight. I think it did hurt his chin because he later got finished by Gerald Meerschaert after that. He's taking some time off. If he didn't get all that damage on him from Alex Pereira, I would pick Bruno Silva all day with absolute confidence because he is a very good, dynamic, tricky striker, hard to deal with. And I am going to pick Bruno Silva. I do think he'll be able to hold up against Tavares, and I think he'll be able to sort of point fight his way, though Bruno goes in there and he tries to hit with intention. He's not like just Izzy the last leg kicker, who I like Izzy, as you know. I just picked him recently, but I think Bruno's a little more dangerous and he throws with more intent than Israel does in some of his fights. I think he'll cause a lot of damage on Tavares over the course of the fight, and I think Bruno Silva will earn himself a third round or late second round finish. Again, or it could totally go to decision too. It depends how tough Tavares is, but skill for skill, I think Bruno Silva is going to get the better of him. I think he'll be able to stop any wrestling that Brad Tavares tries to bring to it, and I think it'll be too much for him on the feet. Now, if I'm wrong and Bruno Silva's chin is gone, then Brad Tavares is going to sleep him. But I don't think that's going to happen this time. I think Bruno will get back in the win category. He is a good fighter, much less wear and tear on his body overall. And I am going to have to give this one to the Bruno Silva side. Moving on up to the main event, the reason you guys are all watching. And if you guys are enjoying this video so far, consider leaving a like and subscribing. I'm going to be posting weekly full card prediction videos, as well as join my Discord server so you can see which parlays I'm taking myself and which prop bets I like the most. It's completely free. I'm not charging anything or anything like that. It's just a little easier for me to share all that stuff there, given that I am limited on time right now, as I said in the beginning of the video. So if you want to see that, go to the Discord. If not, it's your choice. Fun fact, if you don't know, Paplovich actually has the longest wingspan in all of the UFC. It's sort of a freak of nature, and he's also one of the fastest fighters. I would call him the Russian Cyril Gane, who hits harder but doesn't have as good footwork. He's sort of like that. I would actually love to see him versus Cyril Gane. I think that would be an awesome matchup. Obviously, the worry here is if Curtis Blaydes gets him down, you know, wrestle humps him out, maybe gets some ground and pound and finishes him. That's if you're picking Curtis Blaydes, what you're praying for. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Paplovich will get the win here. He'll continue his impressive finish streak. I see him stuffing a few early takedowns of Curtis. Curtis is going to be very hesitant to do that first shot. He knows that he's been finished by Derek Lewis when he went in before. He knows Paplovich can turn his lights out, and Paplovich is one of the faster strikers in the heavyweight division. So when you're shooting in there, you got to expect some wild, heavy uppercuts are going to come from Paplovich. So he's going to be hesitant to shoot. I think Paplovich is going to start to piece him up, and I could see Paplovich getting the finish before Curtis even realizes, oh shit, I have to shoot. Like, it really could be a under first 2.5 minutes of round one type of fight. I do think this fight will be over before under 1.5 rounds, and I think Paplovich will get the finish. He's a very good heavyweight. He's the guy that should be fighting John Jones next to actually make me think John Jones might lose. Obviously, the X factor is his wrestling defense. How is he going to hold up there? But I mean, when a guy is that good at striking and his name is not Cyril Gane, you can expect that they're very much so working on improving their takedown defense and their defensive wrestling. I believe Sergei has been doing that, and I'm picking him with fairly high confidence in this one. Hopefully we can continue my made card winning streak. We've been doing pretty good with that lately, but we'll see. Heavyweights is always scary. If Curtis gets one takedown, it can very quickly look like, oh shit, okay, Sergei isn't able to get back up. I'm screwed, you know? It could totally happen like that. And if you want to bet some underdog odds, I understand it going at Curtis Blaydes. But gun to my head and betting wise, I think Sergei is going to get this one done. So that's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching this one. Again, I apologize for it coming out later in the week. I'm going to work my best to make sure I get this out by Wednesday, Thursday latest, every single week going forward, and try to put out some more content when I have time. Again, I just have a lot going on personally, so just for a few weeks, maybe a month and a half or so, it's going to be on a reduced upload schedule. But it's important to me that you guys can at least trust to come get this full card predictions each week. It's the most important one I can do. So thank you for having patience with me on that. I do appreciate all of you guys who have shown some love to me while I've been doing this channel so far. I know it's a little road bump with content uploading, and I want to know what you guys pick, so leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Leave me your top 3 most confident picks of the card. I will see you guys in the next one.